Well, good evening again and welcome to RRC's coverage of FNR Friday Night Racing. This time it's gold, and well, we've got a fantastic show for you tonight. It's nearly 7:45 on a Friday evening. Hope everyone's keeping well, and thank you for tuning in. As ever, I'm Scrappy Doo, and I'm very happy to be taking you through the Japanese Grand Prix qualifying coming up. Currently we're looking at the Force India, the Racing Point, the Pink Panther, the Pink Mercedes, whatever you want to call it. T-Bone's only gone and won TNR during the week. It's obviously his lucky week. Is he going to add a Grand Prix win, the Japanese Grand Prix, to his list of accolades? We're moments away from finding out. So, like I said, he did win the Tuesday night round of the championship. Tonight, no championship grabs, but he's still leading. He is still leading, 29 points ahead to his nearest compadre, shall we say, in the Drivers' Championship in the form of FTK. He's been very good in Tuesday night racing as well. He's doing even better in this league. And well, it's between really the top... Let's have a quick look through. Realistically, the top 4 drivers can still win. VRM Haas is only 89 points back on second place. So again, he has got a chance as well. Now, Japan is very much liked by a lot of the drivers. I'm very jealous myself, I have to say. Japan's one of my favourite circuits as well, but I'm very happy to be able to talk you through it anyway and give you a driver's perspective of this amazing race circuit. It's one of the ones that the F1 drivers alike absolutely love this place, Suzuka, and we'll be going there live in just a few minutes' time. Just going to ask for an invite to the league just to make sure we're getting there enough time to be able to show and obviously talk you through the qualifying session and the race. No call yet if it's going to be a full qualifying session or it will be the short version we've got used to through these RRC racing rounds. Whatever we get, if it's wet or dry, it's going to be a corker. So I believe we've got a few minutes. So for my regular viewers and listeners, you know I do like to go through the drivers and just to kind of give you an insight view into the tables and exactly what's going on. So let's go from top to bottom. So we're looking at the Racing Point right now. Let's go team by team, actually. It's probably easier saying that. Let's go straight to the McLaren team, currently leading the Constructors' Championship by 24 points of FTH. That's the reason why they're so high up. Civic 79, he's very good as well. Where is he? 5th in the championship. So McLaren 2nd and 5th. These boys are looking strong. 24 points is the gap. But the Racing Points are coming. They really are. As we move on to Racing Point, like I said, so Jonathan Cox did secure the Tuesday night's championship just 2 nights ago, and he's put that aside surely to focus again for Japan. And at one point a solo effort, that's the reason why they dropped. But the pairing of E and MC, again, very strong on Tuesday from a driver's point of view. A very strong lineup at Racing Point. Going on to Ferrari, who are 3rd in the Constructors' Championship. They're 67 points behind. Still with a chance, though, of clinching the Constructors' title. The driver pairing of Benny Boy and VRM Haas. VRM Haas is 3rd in the championship, and Benny Boy, where is he? Can't see him in the championship. Oh, pardon me, he's 6th in the championship. So Benny Boy, not a driver I'm very familiar with. VRM Haas, one of these drivers, again, getting a name for himself in RRC racing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the Scuderia has to offer today. Then on to the Mercedes. So Mercedes, of course, Constructors' Championships in Formula 1. Lewis Hamilton, the 44 we're watching, Drivers' Champion this year. But the guys looking proud in FNR Gold of Mr. Elite and Bradfield. Now, Mr. Elite has been very strong throughout the season. I remember him finishing on the podium a couple of times, so I'll be keeping an eye out for him. Jay Bradfield, relatively new to RRC racing, and he has really made a name for himself in such a small space of time. And surely that driver pairing, Ferrari, Racing Point and McLaren, surely will be fearing the top end of the table. With five races to go, including this one, there is plenty of points up for grabs on the table, so to speak. The next team on, we're looking at Red Bull. I don't know, I was looking left. There's no team higher than Mercedes. You've got GFO Seb and the Extremists. So GFO Seb, currently third in TNR. Very, very capable driver. Good start of the year. He seems to be off his pot a little bit in the last couple of rounds. So hopefully Friday night is when he can pick up his A game and put the Red Bull on the map of where it needs to be. Extremist again, he's doing very well in the league. And again, want to get more points out of that racing Red Bull. The Alfa Romeo team are moving on to, they're currently 5th in the championship. Still waiting on invites. I do believe I haven't seen anything pop up yet. Still got a little time to go. Of GFO Leclerc and Forza Ferrari. So Leclerc very unlucky to lose out. He put it in the wall, unfortunately, on Tuesday. We did watch that live, anyone was viewing it. This guy has got a lot to offer. Started from the back on Tuesday, was pushing for 3rd place. It could have been a race win, but unfortunately put it in the wall around the Hungaroring, and that is really the tight line. That is a tightrope as a driver that you really step onto. You want to be on that edge, the edge of the knife. Not too far to the left, not too far to the right, and unfortunately on Tuesday we did see Leclerc put it in the wall and his end of his hopes for a TNR crown. But hopefully he's put it behind him tonight, and hopefully good things from him. Forza Ferrari, as I've said many times, a massive Michael Schumacher fan. Name I'm not familiar with, but if the name goes by anything, very good luck to him, as I look at my son Michael Schumacher hat saying that, hand on hearts. Just the one runner and rider at AlphaTauri tonight. Again, that's not Williams, it's AlphaTauri, there we go. Of Dragon on Speed. This guy, I do remember him from the old FNR days, just by himself. This guy, I'm telling you what, you want to be, if you've got this guy behind you looking in your rear view mirror, this guy is going to be on full attack. And again, he is a name that we really want to be looking out for. Going down then to the Williams team. It's so beautiful, that car, it really is, I think you'll agree. The Williams team, you've got Jared and TFC Old Boy, so these two, very good pairing as well. I've seen these two race very, very well together. Old Boy, of course, 2nd or 3rd actually in TNR a couple of weeks ago, doing very well, and the tyres unfortunately just went sour. But he's in gold for a reason, as is Jared's. And again, these guys look up to pick up points every single race. So again, good luck to those guys out there. Moving on to the penultimate team, that gorgeous Haas, the number 8 of Roman Grosjean. He's not going to be in the car next year off of Formula 1. But the pairing putting him proud tonight is Walker and Irish New Potato. Irish fan myself, so of course that name's going to ring out to me. Not a driver I'm familiar with, but I'm going to be keeping an eye on him. Walker, now on Tuesday, he hasn't scored a single point, amazingly. In the Mercedes, I believe he's on Tuesday, so hopefully the Haas will bring him better luck, and hopefully he's already scored some points anyway this year in Friday, so hopefully we'll see him get more points to his account. And the final team at the bottom step of the TNR League is Renault. We've got the invite there, I'll be going over shortly. So we have got Rick Stilly 2015 and Flaming Nuggets. No, I'm going to leave Flaming for the Flaming last call out of the day. But for Rick Stilly 2015, not a name I'm familiar with. Where is he in the table? So he's 15th. He's got a couple of points. Let's see how many points he can get today, and hopefully we'll see that yellow machine come through. Flaming Nuggets leaving this guy right till the end. Now this guy is fireworks, he really is. A lot of the time he gets into the middle of the top of the pack, and he's very difficult to get past. So we're going to go live now. We've covered all the 20 drivers. We're looking at either a short or a full qualifying session. We're not 100% sure yet, but let's go in and join live to the session. Like I said, very jealous tonight, looking over my racing seat. I haven't used her in the last 2 days. My performance in Holland, imagine putting it in the wall, really didn't help. So having a day off on Thursday for racing, as most of us do. No leagues available in RRC racing on a Thursday, and back to racing on a Friday. Of course, no Formula 1 this weekend, so hopefully our programme tonight will fill in the gap. An absolute petrol head myself, as many of you know that know me, and any excuse to talk about any kind of Formula 1 absolutely just whets the palate of any keen motorhead. I do want to take the time though, we've got a few minutes to say thank you especially to a few of the drivers, been very, very kind in their comments throughout the RRC Racing League, especially Mono. Big shout out to Mono. He's racing in bronze tonight, so I know he likes to watch back a lot of the commentary I do, but I also want to say thank you to Mono especially, and everyone else watching for their very nice comments. That's very appreciated. So it's nice to see actually a lot of different flags over there, not just the English flag. We've obviously got the Italian flag, Dragon on Speed, a very happy German, ENMC, a Scotsman, what's that, a Kenyan in Jared. I'm not even sure that fit. Irish New Potato, what flag is that? Who knows? A South African, another Irishman, a Greek in the field. We've got them all, we really have. The Turkish, the French. Now, Ralph Lipalat in the second Alpha Tauri. So he is not a name I'm familiar with. I know he's a new guy to the RRC Racing League, and hopefully he can get as many points as possible in his first RRC Friday night race. So good luck to him and welcome to the league, Ralph Lipalat. Bonjour, monsieur. You're very welcome here. So short qualifying it looks like. So at the moment, really, it's all about here, the first section. Just talking you through the circuit. It's a racing driver's track. You don't really get the circuits like this anymore, of the gorgeous turn 1, which is pretty much taken flat out. Just a little bit of braking going in, and then you've got the sequence of hairpin corners in sector 1. Now, watch out for this in qualifying. If you make a mistake in one of those corners, it has a knock-on effect all the way up the hill into what would have been called the Dunlop curve, I do believe, all the way up the hill in sector 1. So pretty much one mistake in one corner in sector 1, and that is it. That is your sector 1 done. Sector 2 in this circuit is not as technical as sector 1. It's more a case of how much speed you can get out of the fast corners and propel the car up and towards probably the second most famous corner in Formula 1, called the 130R, which is is the radius of the corner. That's the reason why it's called 130R. Obviously, we've seen in Formula 1 through the years many drivers losing it. If you're gonna lose it somewhere, you don't want to be there. These F1 cars will take it flat out, but you've got to get the corner right. Coming up the hill from the old pits is going to be an overtaking opportunity with, what's that, 2 DRS zones available here, or probably just a one DRS zone available here in Suzuka. Onto sector 3, and of course you've got the infamous last chicane of Suzuka, known of course for Prost and Senna having their own issues and their own tiff in the end of the 80s. That's been revamped in the last few years of Formula 1, a new pit entrance as well, but it hasn't taken away any of the characteristics of this gorgeous Suzuka circuit. So that's setups. Realistically, so you've got a mix of technical and a technical part of sector 1, you've got the straights in sector 2, and you've got that medium kind of balance of both in sector 3. So it does make setting up the car tricky. It's what are you going to put in? Personally for me, it's all about running the car as low a downforce towards the medium end as possible, because it's all about getting that sector 1 ready. And like I said, that you need to propel the car to get a good sector 1, to put yourself in the best mind frame possible to be able to attack your qualifying lap. The race of 50% today, if it doesn't rain, well, rain will make it the challenge even crazier for the drivers. It's a bit of a long pit straight here, so realistically I think 2 stops is going to be off the cards for any of the drivers. But of course, if you make the 2 stops, and there is a sudden safety car at the right times, or a virtual safety car, it can really help you in this league. So how many drivers have we currently got? We've got 16 currently ready from the potential 20. So it's good to see a good turnout here on Friday. And I think we're going to be a little while before we actually start. I believe it's supposed to have been a 7:45 start. We've got 16 in as the time approaches 8 o'clock. Oh, and we're good to go, apparently, is what I'm hearing, which is good to hear. So everyone needs to ready up for the drivers, please. So gentlemen, start your engines is a term we've been told, and we are moments away from getting green flag qualifying racing. It is green light, green lights. Apologies there, I'm just looking at my window at my neighbours, very clever or unclever parking, so apologies for the silence at the moment. I might have to go and shout at someone, hopefully not. No, I think we're good. As the clock ticks down to 10 seconds till the session. Again, good luck to all the drivers out there, absolutely no favouritism around here. But unfortunately, if we do see a Pink Panther on the front row of the grid, we're going to have to pay the Pink Panther anthem, which can please just make sure that the pink car, the pink Mercedes, does not start on the front row, because I do not want to be playing that. But every single time it was requested in a Friday night race a few months ago, I've been playing it ever since. So please, can we not have the Pink Panther theme tune tonight, please? I will be accepting, though, any requests if you guys got, as long as it's tasteful, and I'll be trying to read as many messages as possible to try and lighten the mood up. So if you guys are in lockdown or locked away or out in a bar somewhere in Wales enjoying yourself, obviously good luck to you. Hope you're keeping safe, and let's all get strapped in for tonight's action. Loading screen comes up. Now is the time of the drivers. So you can see that beautiful 130R of the crossover of the circuit. The only circuit on the F1 track that does incorporate a cross section there is the Denia. Was it Denia 2, I believe? The famous last corner at Suzuka, that famous world. I always wanted to go on it for some strange reason, even though I'm absolutely petrified of heights. One of the most iconic circuits on the F1 calendar. And if it rains, this place is an absolute ice rink, and it is raining. It is rain in the pit lane. Now this throws it. I can't tell you what it's going to be like for the race. We've got 16 runners and riders out there. It's showing 3 laps of qualifying, so hopefully it's not a hot lap only, because that will be absolutely impossible to commentate over. The drivers now will be sorting themselves out. Of course, now they're going to see what we're not seeing. We can see some sort of Codemasters Japanese, Belgian guy looking at us. Very weird. The drivers are actually looking at the screen of putting their setups in. And there we go. The timer starts, says green lights. The drivers will be looking at exactly if it's going to rain in the race and what setup to fun. So realistically, if it's going to be wet in the race, what you want to be doing is putting as much wing on the car as possible. If it's going to dry out, what you want to be doing is the opposite. You want to be sacrificing this qualifying for the race. So it is going to be Inters by the looks of things. No one deciding to come out for the time being. Now, of course, with this, you've got... It's a case you can run more fuel, of course. So you, unlike a drive session where you might have to go out, they can see a Red Bull going out, when normally you're going to have an out lap and a fast lap and then an in lap. That is out the window today. So you are going to get multiple attempts at the lap. Apologies there, I'm switching to my headset. I hadn't realised that it had sound coming out of my PlayStation, so hopefully the sound volume just improved, and I'm trying to change over the telemetry. So of course we all know as the first guy goes out of the extremist, maybe he wants to put up the quickest lap time here. Very striking green and red helmet there. As he comes into Daniel 1, he's the first driver out there, so he's the guinea pig unfortunately. He's the guy that's going to be having to put down that racing line for the other 15 drivers on the track as he approaches Daniel 2. Now how wet is it out there? There's not much spray out on the circuit, as you can see him putting down the racing line. Oh, that looked lovely going through there. Choosing third gear, he's already on the edge right now. As we can see, a driver out. It's Seb out in the wet conditions. GFO, Seb hasn't even put a lap down yet. He's third in the TNR and Tuesday Night Racing League. As well as Jay Bradfield, you can just see there's not much spray at all coming from the drivers. So these drivers trying to put a banked lap down there. And that is the reason why, because he's Stringy really try to grab the halfway its horns going into the first Denya curve, or coming up the first Denya curve. Braking very late actually, I have to say. Managing to keep it on the island though. And actually surprisingly, with only half the field deciding to come out. Of course, it could get wetter out there. It's still raining in Japan, and it could still get wetter. So, of course, if it does go, as you can see the spray coming out of 130R, that is 100% not going to be dry, not going to be flat in these conditions. Stringy trying to get in, maybe he's trying to sort something out in the car for his fast lap. As he comes out, you can just see the car, once the fishtail coming out of the last corner, will join the extremist, because he was the first guy out there to set the lap. We'll go through the other runners and riders shortly. I want to see this lap through, because it will become provisional pole position momentarily, as a few more of the drivers deciding that this is the time to come out, as the old pits is coming up to over the crossover now. That's where we can hear another car engine going through the 180R. Braking very early for the chicane. Doesn't want to touch the curb in these conditions too much on the outside. That's pretty good line through there. Get on the gas into the last corners. Run out of ERS though, of course. DRS, of course, not available in this session because of whatever. And it's a provisional 1 minute 39.3. 9.31, and you can see Jay Bradfield deciding the grass. There's not much grip on there, Jay. Wouldn't be taking that if I was you, buddy. It's Jared who now goes fastest, and then Coxey goes even faster with a 1:37.5. So clearly someone's been doing their homework as far as wet sessions are concerned. Hazard deciding this is not the lap for him. Mr. Raleigh, it looks like he's on an out lap actually, saying that. We'll try and join any more fast laps. As you can see Stringy coming into the last sector. The set lap time is Jonathan Cox, who still currently leads. One championship isn't enough for him, clearly. You might have thought he might have been partying the rest of the week, but no, he's back on form tonight already. Personal pole position currently. Now Stringy stays in 6th, so he's the slowest guy currently out there. Jay Braithfield aborts the lap. He wasn't happy with his time there. So Civics, he looks like he's on a fast lap to me in sector 1. As Benny Boy is coming into the last chicane. Just look at the rain on the halo. Just shows how wet it is in Japan, and a good lap there from Benny Boy, 1 minute 39.0. He goes third fastest. The gap though, you've got Jonathan Cox, 1:37.5, was it 2.5 tenths back to Jared. Benny Boy is another 2 tenths back, and a tenth of a second for Ralph Lee Poilette in his premier Grand Prix. So congratulations to him in the Alpha Tauri. And apologies for my French, 5 years of French, and managed to get bonjour mate out of it. Civics, it looks like he's had an issue. Retired from the session. Hopefully it's not just internet problems. Hopefully it was just internet problems for him. But this wet weather really, it definitely was an accident by the looks of things. Looking by the green flags, it just shows how dangerous, and it just shows how hard it is for the guys out there on wets. all you've got to do is just put a tyre on the curb in the wrong place and your car is history. As you can see, Mr. Elite there, staying away from the puddles on the left-hand side, going up the hill. But does he want to brake for 130R? He just gets off it, being very, very brave there, Mr. Elite 44. A lot of curve on the way in, not much on the way out. That does sacrifice his exit though, and the car does not seem to balance at all in the last sector. Mr. Elite goes third though with that lap, so congratulations to him. 1 minute 38.4. So what's that, 9/10 off the pole currently. The pole lap set by Jonathan Cox. And please, can anyone please set, as we can see, ENMC. That's not going to help his traction at all in the racing points. As he seems to have got the car back together. That is the third guy who has gone off. In these very slippery conditions. So it just shows you how difficult it is out there for the drivers. Looking through, but Dragon Speed still remains to stay in the pit lane. Hazard has decided to join us in his Ferrari. Is it an outlap or a quick lap? I'm not sure. Jared on another outlap as well. Will be joining him shortly to see if he can bet his 1 minute 37.8. Currently provisionally second on the grid as we look just under 10 minutes to go in the session. Now, of course, a tyre deg on the intermediates isn't going to be half as bad as what it would be on soft tyres. So, the availability to be able to do multiple laps out there, as Jonathan Cox is still on a lap by the looks of things. He's not happy. Fastest guy out there currently, 1 minute 37.5. What's that? 3 tenths quicker, or 2.5 tenths quicker. Then second place, and Barry is pushing the Pink Panther to the absolute limit there and more. Just trying to find out where the boundaries are in this Suzuka circuit as we fly up the hill with him. Interestingly there, it must be low in fuel, that's the reason why he's coming in. So Jared will join him for his fast lap. As he starts it, he's throwing the anchors into turn 1. You can see he's on the limit already in that Williams Mercedes. That looks pretty clean to me as Irish New Potato goes. It's saying on pole position provisionally. And that's a fantastic lap. 1 minute 37.2 of the Irish New Potato. And someone finally has knocked, as, oh dear, we've seen another time that is stringy. Now, we're going back to Jared for the time being. There's traffic in front of us. Because Red Bull from where I'm sitting. Hopefully, Stringy has just had an internet issue, and that's the reason why he's backed out of the session. And hasn't actually had an issue. As you can see what Jared can do as he climbs the hill. Number 94 Williams. Irish New Potato still on provisional pole position. Jonathan Cox second. Jared will ride with as the rain still comes down at Suzuka. It seems like it's getting worse. So the longer it gets worse. Oh, you can just see the Williams battling it. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Jonathan Cox. And Jared, can he improve? He doesn't know he can improve his 1 minute 37.4. So he stays third provisionally. ENMC trying to make up for his round the world trip, shall we say, a little bit earlier on. He's got a McLaren behind him. That's the reason why he's backing off and allowing the McLaren to go past. So we'll join FCH, who I thought was on a fast lap. He's not using his ERS, so that's definitely not going to be a fast lap from him. So at the moment, we've got the Irish New Potato on pole. Didn't ever think I'd be saying those three words together in my entire life, but just made it. Irish New Potato is currently on provisional pole position with 6.5 minutes to go. 1 minute 37.2 in this wet session at Suzuka. His nearest competitor is Jonathan Cox in the Pink Panther. What's that, 2.5 tenths back? You've got another 2.5 tenths back to Jared. And then you've got, what's that, 4 tenths back to Ian MC. Forza Ferrari is back in 5th position. As we'll go back to Forza Ferrari's currently in pit lane, as is Mr. Elite is 6th. You've got Stringy in the pits in 7th, Benny Boy in 8th place. And the red Ferrari currently out on track. You've got Hazard down in 9th. Ralph de Poilette in his first RRC outing is 10th. He was on provisional pole position a little while ago, and it just shows the evolution of this circuit and how quickly your fortunes can change. Such a high level of racing we've got on the show tonight. The Extremist is also on track. Let's have a quick look at him momentarily. He's out of ERS, definitely on a fast lap. He goes up to 8th fastest. So, 1 minute 39.0. He's very, very close to Stringy for 7th place. There's a few thousandths between them. The Irish New Potato is on an outlap. We'll be joining him very shortly to see if he can do any better than 1 minute 37.2, as the track does seem like it's getting a little bit drier out there. It's still raining, but it's not raining as hard at the moment to need wets. As you can see, Benny Boy really getting out of it in the 130R. The positioning there as he comes into the final chicane. We've got the drive here. Look at his wheels. The wheel spin wasn't too bad. Taking a wider line. Good lap from Benny Boy in the Forza in the red Scuderia Ferrari. The P5. He's got his teammate behind him, Forza Ferrari, down in at 6. And as promised, we'll be going back shortly to the Irish New Potato. Extremist, he's going to be on an in-lap after he's just set his quickest lap of the session. Jay Bradfield is going to get better in his Mercedes in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Maybe that is the weakness in Bradfield's armour. Maybe he doesn't like the wet conditions. But we'll find out soon with him. Dragon on Speed still in the pit, yet to set a lap. The Irish New Potato we're going back to. Still on his out lap. He did unfortunately miss his fastest lap. As you can see, his ERS. The FNR has left the session. Hopefully we'll be seeing him back very soon. He's currently sitting in 4th in the pits. Maybe he's just gone for a breather. The Irish New Potato is just about to get ready. So the things you're doing now is you're pulling the car into hot lap. You're changing the diff a little bit perhaps. Making sure the tyres are warm. And then stepping it. Look at his wheels spin out the last corner. You see the dry line about or appearing on the last corner. That's the reason why the drivers are taking that very wide line. In dry conditions you wouldn't see that. Taken really late there for turn 1. Very good positioning so far. As you can see the McLaren getting out of the way. Just a little bit of the grass. Yeah, pinned his lap though. The Irish New Potato. Just 3 minutes to go. So we're about to see these guys come out again for one more lap. So we still have, what's that, 14 out of the 16 drivers. We've got 2 drivers out of the race, unfortunately, of the qualifying session, in the way of Civic 79 and Seb, GFO Seb, without setting a lap. So Dragon on Speed is only going to put in a lap time, and he will definitely start from 14th. So Bradfield still needs to be setting a quicker lap. He's the only man in the 2 minutes, surely just trying to fill the car and just get used to the intermediate tyres. That's the reason why we haven't seen him put up a much faster lap. The number 9 Haas. He's been clean and tidy so far. He comes out the Denia curves. Trying to follow that dry line. As he comes up the hill, 130 when does he brake? That's so light moving off the throttle there. Look at his position now for the final chicane. Taking all the curb and more, and just watch the wheel spin here coming into the last corner. Very low, very well controlled there. And Irish New Potato goes back on pole position. Jonathan Cox momentarily had just pipped in there, and it's a tenth of a second between the Irish New Potato and T-Bone.
So it looks like for the moment T-Bone is getting T-boned by the Irish new potato. Again, another sentence I never thought I'd be saying in my life, but there we go. So I hope these guys have got time for another lap. Jonathan Cox seems to be fuel saving, his ERS saving as well. He should get another lap out of this. I'm not so confident the Irish new potato will. So that does put him vulnerable from the chasing pack behind him. So we can see everyone else out of the pits. Where's Extremist on the lap to see if he'll be able to get out. A minute to go in the session. You can see the Pink Panther getting out of the way. The ENMC, it won't be enough from Jonathan Cox. So surely we'll see him come back through to start his lap. Now, Ralphie Pilette, sporting the French national flag on his helmet, of course, in his first race. It's going to be touch and go if he can make it to the line with 37 seconds to go. So let's go through the runners and roads one more time. The Irish new potato, he's not going to be able to set another lap, surely. Jonathan Cox is going to be able to set a fast lap as he comes back through. We'll make a mental note of that. So he started the lap. And Jared, he's not going to be able to. It looks like he's thrown that away. So Jared, unfortunately, doesn't look like he's going to be able to set a faster time than currently third. FTH is in the pit lane. He wasn't been able to join us. Benny Boy's retired from the session. Forza Ferrari in the pits. Jay Bradfield, he will not be able to start another lap. So this is going to be it for Jay Bradfield today. And decided to come in. So 8th place it is for Jay Bradfield. That's the end of his session for him. Mr. Elite, this is what his lap time is. The first of the last guys to come out. He goes up to 6th, Mr. Elite. So that's his afternoon session done. The Extremist is on a fast lap. Dior Hazard. What can he do? It's not going to be quicker. He doesn't improve. It's a shame for him. We'll go back with Jonathan Cox in the middle of Sector 2. By the looks of things, Daniel 1, that is. Being very cautious on the gears. He's not on a quick lap, so he looks like he's made a mistake. As has Jared, really pushing it to the limit. So it looks like the Irish new potato has done it on pole, put it on pole. When does Jared go? He stays third. So it looks like the Irish new potato is going to start from pole position with Jonathan Cox second. Jared for the moment is in third position. FTH is fourth. Benny Boy is fifth. Mr. Elite sixth. Forza Ferrari 7th, ENMC 8th, Jay Bradfield 9th, Stree in 10th, Mr. Extremist 11th, the Extremist 11th, Dior Hazard is 12th, he's done his lap, so that's it for him. Ralphie Poilette in his first Formula 1 race starts 13th, Civics behind him, Dragon on speed, of course we lost him a little bit earlier as well, so 13th for the Poilette. Now, is that going to be a unlucky number for him? We'll find out. So again, final confirmation. The Haas on pole, the Irish new potato. We've got Jonathan Cox in second place on the racing point. So that's it's just a 10th behind. Jared in third position. We've got FTH in fourth. Benny Boy in fifth. Mr. Elite 6th, Forza Ferrari 7th, ENMC 8th, Jay Bradfield 9th, Stringy in 10th place. That runs out the top 10. Now, unfortunately, Pink Panther Anthem, because a pink Mercedes did make it on to the front row of the grid. Interesting though, of course, a wet session in qualifying. These guys will get a free choice of tyre of what they want to select for the race. And it is dry, by the looks of things. You can see the cars on the grid, and you can see all medium tyres for quite a lot of them. There's going to be a spread between mediums and softs. Surely hard, starting on hard is not the way to go around here. Now, of course, if we do see a early safety car, potentially the guys on the soft tyres, look for them to pit very early, and maybe even forces into a 2-stop. Guys on the mediums, they're going to be hoping for as many safety cars as possible, just be able to close the gap to them, so that their final stop on just a 1-stop onto a soft tyre is going to be as close to the end as possible, so they can maximise, of course, that last part of the race where they're going to be the fastest cars. Personally, for me, around here, I would start on the mediums and go for the softs and make it a 1-stop. the risk of a safety car around here, not as high as the street circuits, but of course the short runoff here and the barriers, very high speed turn one, it's always going to be, and of course, oh, pardon me, and the limits of DRS around here, just the one DRS zone, that's on a dry track. That's the reason why we're going to see issues, because that's the place to pass. It's coming out of that last chicane, going into the last corner, getting as close to the car as possible in front of you, and making that move into the first corner with ERS all the way up, your DRS open, and just going for it. So, can the Irish Potato put pole position into a race victory? We are moments away from finding out. I do wonder if there is going to be a delay. This is a very long delay currently in the lobby setting up. Unfortunately, nothing's perfect with technology, and we do often have issues and glitches, which means we have to restart the lobby. So hopefully we won't see that, and hopefully the guys will be able to start the race shortly. But of course, so it's a good time actually to go through the qualifying session, and really the driver that stood out for me there was the Irish Nude Potato. Again, very wonderful choice of words from whoever decided to run that, so for his choice of name. So good luck to him, buddy. And really was stand out in qualifying in wet conditions. He managed to keep it on the black stuff and away from the green stuff. And around a real racer circuit, he has really outdone himself today. So, driver of the qualifying for me, or driver of qualifying, but who's going to make it into Scrappy's driver of the day? Going to have a quick look through the comments, so feel free for anyone watching to send me a comment, and I'll try and any questions, and I'll try and read them out for you, answer any questions you do have. And still waiting on a decision about this session currently to see if we are going to be restarting or if the session is going to be good to go shortly. It does look like a game glitch, and unfortunately it's one of these things, like I said, with modern technology, this is one of the downsides to it. As we can see drivers leaving the session, it does look like we are going to be getting a restarted session. Yeah, that's confirmation of that. They will be making a new lobby shortly, so waiting for the invites for any drivers. Only good thing is, it doesn't matter, because the qualifying session was on wets. It was a wet session. It means that the race is not going to be impacted. The drivers would have had brand new tyres anyway for the race. They are potentially going to be able to change setups, of course, as well. Maybe if they decided not to, or if we'd realised this, of course, they could have run a completely wet setup. It does mean, of course, we are going to see dry setups in this session. And now we're actually going to see the best of both worlds. So we are going to get to see a wet session where the drivers really compromise, or having a dry setup out there that would have compromised their progress in qualifying for what they thought was going to be a race under the same conditions. Slightly different now. It's not going to be that case. It will be a case that they will get a second bite of the cherry. So the drivers, they've perfected their setups for the race. They are going to get a second bite at this. Still waiting for the game invites to come out. Thank you very much for being so patient with us. Normally we would be on the first lap of the race. Unfortunately, we're currently not at 8:30. We're currently still waiting for a session to restart. So normally it's like a 5-minute break behind that. But I don't know if you guys did, but I absolutely loved qualifying. So I'm sure that we're going to love the race as well. 50% race to whet our appetites. It was very cold Friday night in London, I must say. And for me, it's all going to be a race off the start into turn 1 between the Racing Point, or to see on what the Racing Point to do between the Racing Point and the Alpha Tauri. The new guy in the league, the Frenchman, Can Mbappé Point. What can he do? The Irish nude potato, what can he do in on the lead up to turn 1, and what can T-Bone do to stop him? And just having a flick through, it does look like at least someone has looking through the Discord, it does look like someone's taken some pictures of the lobby, so thank God for that. So at least now everyone does know where they're going to be starting from. Bit of a nightmare for the admins trying to sort this out at short notice, so thank you very much for RRC Racing for sorting this out for us being so quickly, and thank you for the patience of everyone watching. Now, before the race or the qualifying session did begin, T-Bone was saying that, of course, it's one of his favourite races around here. Big drivers' track. Drivers love it round here. We're going to love it even more when it was dry. Now, of course, we've got another dynamic of it's going to be just a race session now. Qualifying's already been decided, so it will be a custom grid. It'll be a few more minutes before we get underway in the race. And of course, we can still have potentially a wet session, so it will be restarted very shortly, and that's the reason for the delay. It's actually probably a very good time to talk about with, of course, we are towards the closing stages of the RRC season, and if you guys are obviously interested, make sure you put your names down for next season. If you've got any budding racing drivers that friends that want to get involved, friends, family, obviously please let one of the admins know, and we'll obviously try to drive and try and strive to put them in, give some trials and try and get them in the league. So of course we want to see full 20 car grids for next season, and of course to the new drivers out there tonight, obviously a very good luck to them. Now, one thing that I'm sure you guys will want me to talk about, which I'm 100% not going to be talking about, is the Wednesday night racing and the fact in this game of the aero. About if you're chasing down another car, it'll be apparent here as well of how much the dirty air disturbs the car. Now you might be saying to yourself, hang on a minute, it's a racing game, what does that matter? Well, 100% chasing another car around an F1 track, especially Holland like on Wednesday, I myself put it in the wall. So I'm just saying, this is the sort of thing we saw in qualifying, drivers retiring, okay, that was wet. But this is the sort of things that you've got to put into your back of the mind about what's going to happen in the race. So of course the two drivers that were eliminated from qualifying because of accidents on a wet track, they're going to know, okay, I made this mistake and hopefully learn from it, and of course not do it again. That's the thing you'd strive to as a racing driver. Unfortunately, this is a non-Grand Prix weekend. I must admit that the last weekend's qualifying and race being very early did absolutely destroy my sleep patterns. Having to be up for qualifying on a Saturday at, what was it, I think practice was 9 o'clock in the morning, and then qualifying at something like 12 really put it odd, and a very odd Sunday as well. And actually a very odd race as well, shall we say, with the racing points being at the top of qualifying and then leading the race for over half distance. Well over half distance in fact. So very strange race that we saw in Formula 1. And even in fact going on to TNR's Tuesday race, we did see a very strange race in a sense around the Hungaro rings. Of course the setup in the Tuesday night race is the fact of no qualifying, not one shot, not a short qualifying session, but it's for championship order. So that makes, of course, that introduces even more racing. And we saw Leclerc had to be pushing. He had to get through the field to get as many points as possible. All Jonathan Cox had to do was finish, 12 points ahead of him in the Drivers' Championship to clinch it. He started ahead of him on the track. He kept away from the chaos at turn 1. Did Leclerc. He was third. He was pushing down P2 and he just put the tyre on the curb. That put him into the wall. End of his championship, because all Cox had to do was finish fourth. He was fourth on the track and third in the race, so that clinched him his own championship. And it just goes to show that GFO Leclerc from the Tuesday Night League really was, to the end, was hanging on to it. But like Bottas really around the last couple of years, really hanging on to anything he could. Now that title was been sewn up. We still have plenty of racing, including tonight, 5 to go. As the final night session will commence shortly. Still waiting for the admins to get everything sorted. It does take a little while, of course, to try and make sure that everyone's in the right order and make sure that you've calculated it correctly. So that's the reason for the delay tonight. We'll be having a sip of Guinness shortly. 1 more second. Yeah, apologies. Don't drink and drive, guys, but your commentating is absolutely fine. Right, let's have a quick look and see if we can get any more comments that anyone's made. Can't see anything for the time being. And what's anyone posting in the Discord chat? I think this is going to be people just saying when's the session going to be up and running. So the answer to that is going to be very shortly. So yeah, as of course we saw in qualifying, these guys are pushing 100% on the limit. So very different conditions from qualifying to potentially what could be a dry race, where you haven't got the understanding of a dry track. So of course if it rains in the race, the drivers are going to have all that knowledge about where they can push, where they need to get off. But of course on a dry track, these drivers wouldn't have tested on a dry track for a while now. And the last time they went out it was wet. So of course it's going to take a little while to adjust. So expect the first couple of laps to see these drivers adjust, and of course then if you're going to make a mistake, it is going to be on these first few laps. So I'm going to try and take you through all of the 16 drivers, and of course if there is a safety car and the race is paused momentarily, we'll have a recap and go back through the drivers and talk about them in a bit more detail. It's good to make sure that everyone gets a bit more TV time. Unlike a lot of the 90s Formula 1 or focus that like to focus on basically just the front drivers. And that's the reason why you used to see the Minardis and the backfield teams going out first in qualifying just to get the TV time. Not on RRC, obviously we'll try and show absolutely everyone's performance and try and talk a bit more about the drivers. in not just this league, but all of them in the RRC racing community. Okay, and I've been asked to make sure the track map is up. When streaming, of course, I'll be doing that. I'll be trying to run in the race as well, a position calendar and flipping back over the fastest lap of the race. And tyre selection as well. So trying to pinpoint the drivers running and what strategies everyone's running, and just to kind of give you an idea on tyre life. And of course that'll be even more complicated with any more safety cars or virtual safety cars that come out, but I'm sure we'll be able to talk you through it when we get running. 50% race coming up shortly. Maybe we'll even see rain during the race to spice things up. That'll make things even more exciting than normal. We're counting down now to green flag racing. Finally, we are going to see the Japanese Grand Prix for Friday night racing commence very shortly. And of course, the drivers now will be sitting there crossing their fingers, hoping for a dry session. And of course, we're all sitting here watching, hoping for a wet session because it will definitely spice it up. Now, for me, the guys in the top 10, sure, they're going to get a free choice of tyre as well. They don't have to start on the softs. It's of course a wet session. I think we're going to see a spread of soft and medium tyres being run at the start. Me personally, I'd start on the mediums. If I was in the top 10, or in fact on this grid, I would start on the medium tyre and potentially sacrifice making up positions on the soft tyre for the first few laps. As now it's a more positive outlook. As we can see now, we're going live to the grid. And fingers crossed this does work. This is more positive as we can see now. Everyone going through their setups, making sure they're on the tyre that they want to be on at the start of the race. They're going to get the formation lap to warm them up. They will be brand new tyres. And potentially we may even see pit stops extended further than what we were expecting, because of course these drivers haven't done qualifying on these tyres. They're brand new tyres they're going to be using. A lot more positive now. It does look like we are going to get going this time, as we can see the clock count down to 10 seconds to go to the formation lap. And I'll be talking you through what the drivers are all on shortly as far as tyres are concerned. We are go! Green flag on the formation lap. Very happy to see. Just have a quick talk you through. So the Irish Potato, who arrived in pole position, he has gone for the medium tyre. Like I said, no surprise there. A very good qualifying session as well, I have to say, from him. Driver qualifying is Jonathan Cox, who points leader. He has gone for the mediums as well. Got Jared in third. He's a bit of a rocket there. He was right until the end of qualifying. He's pushing his Williams. He's going to want more than third today. Hot on his heels is FTH. Problems with his internet. He does stay fourth, or start fourth. He's on the mediums. You've got the first of the soft runners on the Scuderia Ferrari of Ben Boy. He starts from the soft, so he's going to be making it a stake for the top three today, especially into turn one. Mr. Elite, Mr. Sensible there, going for the medium tyre, as has Forza Ferrari in P7. In Female Star 8, he has gone for the soft with Racing Point. As is Dave Bradfield in 9th. I don't think really he's reached his potential in qualifying in the wet, so watch out for him in the race. Either did Stringy. Didn't like he looked like wet conditions either. He'll start 10th. He starts from the medium tyre. The Extremist, he was top of the pile for a little while. While with him, the first driver out there, he starts in the softs, as does Hazard and Civics, who unfortunately did not start. Or probably he did actually start. He told me he had an issue in the qualifying session. He retired. He has got a free choice though of soft tyres, as does Dragon on Speed, who did not take any part, or did take part in qualifying. Sorry, he starts from 14th. GFO said he did not have an accident, unfortunately. He was out. He will start from the mediums, as does a TFC old boy from the back of the grid. Now they're saying for a one stop for medium to hards. Not so sure about that. For me personally, I will be going medium to soft or soft to mediums and making these tyres last. As we ride with the Irish Nude Potato, getting his Haas into pole position. Alongside him is Jonathan Cox. These two are likely to have a ding-dong battle down to turn 1. We're waiting for the lights. As the Irish Nude Potatoes on pole. Trying to get my cameras. 1 light, 2 lights, 3, 4, 5, hold! And the Japanese Grand Prix is go, and now the Irish Nude Potato. Decent start off the grid. Jonathan Cox seems to have a much better one into turn 1. You can see the Williams trying to push there. It's going to be close between the 3 of them. As Jonathan Cox pulled it off, as you can see, Irish Nude Potato falls all the way down towards that 3rd position. It's not done yet. You can see the McLaren on the outside of FTH, so they're going to make it through there on that collision. They have so far. As you can see, the Haas still trying to improve that. Bad start from the Irish Nude Potato. He's down to 3rd. You can see Jared hot on the heels of the Racing Point, who currently leads the race. They all do seem like they've got away cleanly. As you can see, hopefully no damage. Very, very close to the Extremist. He's fallen down a lot of positions there. As does TFC Oldboy, up 1 position from his grid at start. We've got GFO Step trying to make back for a bad qualifying session for him. Trying to make a move there on Civics down the inside of Denya 1. He looks to have succeeded. Good move there from the medium tyre. He goes back on him, does the McLaren. As you can see, several who racing with him. Down 1 position for his grid start. Very Sebastian Vettel looking helmet there. The GFO Seb chasing down the McLaren. As we're going to go a couple of phases higher, look at stringing battling for P10. GFI House in front of him. He had a disadvantage, of course, being on the medium tyre. As you can see, who was that moving there? In the 130R, but two Mercedes have their own private battle for the quickest tyres to come into the last chicane. So it looks like we've got all 16, one of them riders making it through. That's 1 out of 27. We've got 26 more to go at the end of this. Jonathan Cox does set the fastest lap of the race. We'll go back to the Irish Nude Potato, who's made a move for P2. We're about to come to this anyway. He's backed off there, he's thought anything more of it. It's actually going to be for P3, the Lewis. Okay, you move it, he's out of He puts it into the wall, just the Irish Nude Potato. And it does look like that's a driver issue to me. He's got a damaged car, he's put a yellow flag out. I thought it was going to be out of the race. He's managed to restart it. There's a guy on pole. He is going to be gutted as the Irish Nude Potato. It's yellow flags, it's gone green as well, so no safety car for the Irish Nude Potato. As we can see, as we're going to go back to the race leader, as we like to see the Codemaster graphics playing up on us. Now Jared is not leading the race, unfortunately for him. By the looks of things, he is. Apologies, I thought that was just an issue there with the actual system. It wasn't. It looks like FTH, or Jared, pardon me, is gone up to 1st place in this race. As you can see, TFC Old Boy is not done down there in 14th. So Jared does lead this race. You can see FTH really for him on the outside of the last chicane. I was thinking it's a glitch of the system, but it's not. Jared has taken control of this race. He started in 3rd position. He's gone up to P1. DRS is available for FTH this time, and it does look like potentially the issue. Jonathan Cox, we didn't see what it was. I didn't see him have an issue there with the Irish Nude Potato, but these two are going to be right at the back as the Irish Nude Potato just make it into the pit. Jonathan Cox decides to go for the hard tyre. He's been off because of the front wing change, so pushing too much on lap 2 has definitely cost him. The Irish New Potato will see Jonathan Cox leaving the pits in front of him as Jared still leads the Japanese Grand Prix, taking more of the curb and more as we go underneath the circuit. And Stringy's been on adventurous days down to P12 as the Irish New Potato just makes it out of the pit lane. Jared still leads it. There's a movement there between Benny Boy and FDH, the P2. FDH currently seems to be winning that battle. And the 2 Mercedes are up for a fight as well. As we look a bit further down the circuit, it is all going off in FNR Gold tonight. We've seen a wet qualifying session. We can see a 3-way battle there for what is his 4th position. And EMC literally moved out to, lost out to 1 Mercedes. And there's going to be 2 Mercedes. Jay Bradfield makes up 2-1 position there. And unfortunately there, as you can see, NMC coming back at him as he comes into the final chicane. Incident there between Civics. He's going to be out of the race. Big shame for him. Neil Poir, unfortunately for Civics, he's out. As they all decide to pit, there must be is there a safety car on the track? As you can see, Mercedes there rushing for new tyres and wheels. These guys going for the hards. And it happened right at the end of the lap. That's the reason why Jared was unable to pit. It is safety car. And unfortunately for Jared, he has picked up a safety car in exactly the wrong place he did not want to be. As you can see, the Ferrari's still in the pits of Stringy. Let's have a quick look and just to see how many stops that they've made. Because realistically, the first driver who stopped is really going to be helped here. Right, so let's have a quick look through here. So, was that Benny Boy, the first driver? Let's have a quick look through. So, Jared, so fantastic race for him. He's really capitalised, good qualifying. He's capitalised, obviously, on the first 2 drivers ahead of him. Their Dragon Speed is out of this race. Big shame for him under safety car conditions as well. So Jared leads. You've got, he's on the medium tyre from what he started. You've got FTH. He's up a couple of positions there. And if I can have a look and just see exactly how many positions he is up, would be fantastic. There we go. So he's up 2 positions from his grid start. You've got Mr. Elite in 3rd place. He has yet to stop. He's on the medium tyre, up 3 positions from his grid, as is Forza Ferrari sitting there in 4th place. GFO Seb, the biggest winner of the day, started from the back of the field, up 10 positions from his grid start, yet to stop. TFC Old Boy again up 10 positions from his grid start. Good to keep an out of the drama of the first couple of laps. He is in P6 again, yet to stop. The first driver who has stopped is Benny Boy for hard tyres. Now, is he going to be able to make these tyres last until the end of the race? The NMC is in 8th place. He has stopped as well again for the hard tyres. So these guys hoping to go to the end. Jay Bradfield rolling the dice onto the medium tyres to see if his mediums can last it until the end of lap 27. The last guy in the points is DOR Hazard. Currently has the fast lap of the race on the mediums again. He has stopped. Then we've got Jonathan Cox in 11th. He started from the front row of the grid. An incident for him at the same time as his compatriot on this front row of the grid, the Irish New Potato. They've seen him fall down to 11th. He has stopped for new tyres and the front wing. He's on the hard, which sure he should last till the end of the race. The extremist down in 12th with the same mindset. He has stopped on the hard tyres to the end. The Irish New Potato is the guy who's rolling the dice. And to see if his medium's the pole sitter, is he going to have to stop again, or can he make it until the end? Stringy is the last driver on track. He does have, it looks like, a drive-through penalty to serve 5 seconds, as he's going to be catching the field. He's gone for the soft tyre. He will 100% have to stop again. So, lap 5. Jared leading. Exciting so far. Luckily we see the guys all getting through lap 1. as Bert Mailander and his Mercedes does lead. So currently Mercedes car, safety car first, Mercedes engine Williams second. And soon to be Mercedes McLaren in third position. And in fact, as we think about it as well, fourth place as well on the track, Mr. Elite, also the Mercedes. So the first four are Mercedes engine cars, or soon to be Mercedes engine cars. As the safety car is staying out for one more lap, that will give Dragon on Speed plenty of time to come back out. And surely, for me, I'd be pitting to go onto the mediums. Hopefully, Stringy might be listening to this. It might be an idea for him to stop onto the medium tyre, because he will catch a safety car. He's a long way behind it. You can see the field in the first sector. In fact, he does pit. Maybe he was listening to this. Stringy deciding to come in for new tyres and wheels. Currently P14. He's got to roll the dice. He really has to. It's going to be hard until the end. They haven't served this penalty, of course. You're not have to serve it under safety car conditions. So just the one more lap as we're on lap 6. Bert Mailander has led this race for 3 laps. Which is the third lap that Bert Mailander in the safety car has basically been under safety car conditions for the last 3 laps. Jared done very well. Started from the front from P3, held it together on lap 1. Incident involving, or separate incidents in fact, but it's things involving Irish Potato and Jonathan Cox. Has seen the two of them fall behind. Outside the top 10, and that's where people have capitalised. The likes of Forza Ferrari, GFO, Seb and TFC Old Boy have massively capitalised. They have moved up 10 positions from their grid start. So it looks like they have had appraisal as far as a wet qualifying is concerned. So good luck to them at the restart. As we come into sector 2, when is Jared going to put the throttle down? You'll see the safety car will come in this lap. Jared will allow the safety car to fly up the hill into 130R. He will then become the safety car, as he's doing now in the Williams. Everyone will have to back behind him. As Stringy has caught the end of the safety car queue, which is good. Now, it's down to Stringy. When does he want to get this race underway? And the safety car comes back in. FTH, very good at restarts. As is GFO Seb. So watch for these guys. And has he bolted? Jared seems to have absolutely bolted already, leaving FTH behind him. Are they all going to make it through? Of course, no overtaking allowed until they come across the line. There's yellow flags already, and fantastic start there. Has a getaway there from Jared, as you can see. Mr. Elite putting FTH under pressure into the first corner. Not made a pass there. I'm looking at Forza Ferrari there in P4. So Seb is still in P5. GFO Seb. And you can see Ice New Potato already all battling there. He's had an issue all the way down there. James Bradfield with issues as well. So he's fallen all the way back down the field. That front wing of the Mercedes doesn't look too clever. As you can see, Jonathan Cox is up into the points already in 10th place. He is a danger guy there. Watching in sector 2, watching the cars come round to see if we can see any other issues. And it's currently Jared who still leads. FTH seconds. And Mr. Elite in third place. Let's go back to the interval just so you can have a look exactly to see how far the gap is behind. Okay, fantastic. That's the gap that we all like to see. We've got Jared there. The gap is 0.8 of a second. Well, DRS is not really available for 2 laps. So it looks like the McLaren to drive with has run out of ERS. That's the reason why he's not going to be able to push. He's raced it, he's used it all on the first 2 sectors of this Japanese track. You can see the train there with a gap starting to form back to P4 as FTH does the fastest lap of the race. He is in P2. Let's go back to closest gap, which is on this racetrack of TSC Old Boy battling with Forza Ferrari for 5th place. You can see that EMC has been pushed out in turn 1 by Jonathan Cox. The 2 racing points they're battling with DR Hazard. So Hazard was saying, no, you are not coming through, EMC. Not on my watch, buddy. And Jonathan Cox with the best seat in the house to witness that. The Irish New Potato a couple of tenths behind the extremists. He's been putting the pressure on. We've got Jay Bradfield behind him, and Bradfield's been making a move. Yeah, to get out of that one. Very, very intelligent driving now. As you can see, the racing points have switched position. Jonathan Cox up to P9. I don't think Ian and C would have made it too difficult there for his teammate. And surely he'll be under orders at Racing Point to make sure that you keep the Irish New Potato behind for as long as possible. The 2 Scuderias are battling as well for P7 between Hazard and Denny Boy. It does look like Hazard in Gardenia 2 has got the upper hand on his teammate. Going back to the battle for the lead. It's down to a tenth of a second into 130R. FTH to the fast up for the race this time. Is he going to think about it into the chicane? He doesn't. He thinks twice about it. He's got the Mercedes all over his backside. That is the reason why. And then he's got GFO Seb behind him. That's the reason they are going to get DRS on the next lap. So this is the final lap without a DRS zone. Going back through the field, 2 tenths of a second to the extremists. He's been putting a move on Ian MC in at these sister racing points. Does he make a move into the first corner? He does. And can he make it stick? Just about contact between the 2 cars. It wasn't too bad though. He seems to have got away with that. So fantastic driving from the both of them. Good to see wheel-to-wheel action at such a high level between these 2 competitors. ENMC is not done though with P11. He wants more Drivers' Championship points. As you can see, taking the glass for more from the outside. As we look back at ENMC, as we look at the Irish New Potato and the Mercedes all the way back there, then you won. It's not an overtaking opportunity. The gap for the lead between Jared and TFH is 3 tenths of a second. We'll be going back to that battle shortly. Stringy there is the closest gap on the track from right now between Stringy and Jay Bradfield. These guys completely out of position, really is what they should be. As you can see now, the battle for P2, it's going to be the battle for 4 drivers for the lead in that. And FDH makes the move into 130R. It pushes Jared to the outside. Can Jared get back to him in the final chicane? He can't. He is going to get DRS though if he can stay away from Mr. Elite in the Mercedes. Bad exit there for FDH as he comes into the last corner. He's going to have DRS. He's going to fall from first to third in just a matter of meters. In fact, he is going to fall down to 3rd position. Mr. Elite up to 2nd. As you can see, the Mercedes really pushing there. Fantastic battling between the both of them as we look back at the McLaren. So close. And FDH just managed to keep hold of 2nd position. As GFO Seb looking up 3rd place. He's been looking at this whole battle himself. Now he wants to go as well for P3. So all go to the 4 drivers in a train for the battle of the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix on lap 10. These are 27 lap race. They're 10 laps at this. Yellow flags out there. Let's have a quick look and just see what's going on. A bit further down the line. It's Mr. Elite who seems to have lost the position. That's not what the yellow flag is for. Let's have a quick look and just see. It's still green out there for the time being. There's still a 4-way battle for the lead. Of course, the top 6 have not pitted. That is the reason why they are trying to capitalise on this. They are trying to push the cars as fast as much as they possibly can. As you can see, the battle there for the lead is Jared again going for FTH. This time he's attacking. Last lap he was defending. He did fall down to P3, managed to shrug it off for back up to P2. As you can see, DRS completely wide open. There's not going to be nothing on this lap. Looking a bit further down the track. As you can see, TFC Old Boy losing position. The Irish New Potato. TFC Old Boy's coming. That's the reason why. Wasn't happy with his tyre choice. So going back to the battle for the lead, you can understand why we are all over this like a rash. Watching this close motor racing. The RRC Potato getting himself a 3 or multiple warnings. That's really not going to help him in the race. And still, we're looking at this battle. This lead battle has changed multiple times between the top three. As you're looking at the Red Bull here, trying to make a move in the Daniel 1. You've got some ballsy pushing in there from Seb. Seb does make a move for Jared on the inside there of Daniel 1. He's got dirt all over his tyres. He's not happy with P2. He wants P3. He wants P2 all to himself. Backing away there for Mr. Elite. Any contact between the two cars? In fact, there was contact loose right there. Coming out of Spoon Cars. Going all the way up the hill. We're about to see a Mercedes come very, very large. In fact, we are there side by side. They're going to be on the way up to 130R. He has to back off there. Fantastic driving for Mr. Elite. Otherwise, there would have been an issue between the two of them. Slight contact there going into the chicane as well. So, of course, now they're both going to get DRS. Mr. Elite's not going to be happy with this. Does he make a move there from the inside outside? He's going to the inside. He has to back off. He didn't have the space there. As we can see now, he falls off Ferrari, falling down a place. Jonathan Cox is back up to 6th place. He has got himself a penalty as well on the hard tyres. It's just not what he wants. The guys in front of him are yet to stop, but they don't have time penalties. And that's the reason why we are seeing the top drivers pushing so much. The Extremist has lost it. He's in the warm assist of Red Bull. GFO Seb doing so well in P3 at the moment. His teammate not having such a good day down the Extremist and nearly losing the car altogether. He has this time. Just unfortunate. You can see GFO Seb is up to P2. We're watching the Extremist and his battles there. Truly comes past us at 140 miles an hour. Wanting more of this as yellow flags rightly on the track because of this. As you can see, Jared now really going for it. Mr. Elite behind him. We're going to see the Mercedes pop to the left or to the right. It's on the right. It's on the inside of the 130R. It's contact between the two of them, and the Mercedes loses out this time into 130R. We're saying at the start of the program, this is not the place you want to be. Going side by side, he opts to take the Ayrton Senna route into the chicane, gets himself a 3-second time penalty because of this for multiple warnings, taking the Senna line into the final chicane. And unfortunately, we've seen the end of that battle for the time being. Going back down, Mr. Elite, he's gone front wing change. So that's the reason why he had to come in, opting still for hard tyres. Surely the money would have been there to go to the medium tyres until the end of the race. He decided against it. It's FTH that currently now has a 3-second gap ahead of GFO Seb because of his battling there. You've got Jared in 3rd place. Is he going to be in 3rd for long? He's got Racing Point right behind him in the form of Jonathan Cox, who makes a really good move there. As he's underneath the track, capitalising on the Ferrari's mistake of Hazard. That's the reason why he's now up to P4. And of course he will be like a bat out of hell for the next half of this race. And it surely will be a matter of time before we start making gains on Jared for P3. He's on the harder tyre, surely not into 130R. Taking more of the curve and more on the outside. This is not going to go too well, and Hazard really wanting to join the party there. So he's go at P4. Jared under pressure now from Jonathan Cox, the current race or points leader. Is he going to be able to make a move here? He's got the inside of the DRS completely wide open. Jonathan Cox makes a move and makes the pass there into turn 1. He goes up to P3. Jared pushed down to P4. Next on for T-Bone is going to be GFO Seb. He's got a couple of seconds up in the road, so the top 3 are spaced out. Then we've got Jared, so the couple of, or 3 or 4 seconds, or 3 seconds to say between first, or 2 seconds between first and second, and a further 4 seconds. Jared is a second behind already. It just shows to show the pace of T-Bone currently. You can see GFO Hazard's not happy with 5th. He wants as many points for the Scuderia today as possible. That is the reason why he's going to be harassing this Williams until the end of the race. Now these guys are going to be thinking, was it the right move to go onto the medium tyres or to stay on the mediums and not to pit? When the safety car came out, Jared didn't pit. Jonathan Cox has pitted, but he pitted at the start of the race, so surely he will have to pit again. As you can see, the Ferrari making mistakes there of Hazard. He's lost a position coming out of spoon curve. 1 place, 2 places to his teammate. Big shame for him as his teammate there, Benny Boy, is going to be making aims for the Ferrari. And that's all it takes, unfortunately, is just one slight mistake in off the curb. And that is what it puts you out of the racing line. So Benny Boy will get the arrest now again. Was a Ferrari, but not much difference. Hazard surely will let go his teammate in the sister Scuderia into turn 1. He's too far away. He's having a little think about it and decided not to. So Jonathan Cox really chasing after GFO Seb and FCH for the lead of this Japanese Grand Prix. We've got 15 laps. I'm already out of breath already off these 15 laps. These first 15 laps have been absolutely fantastic. As you can see, the Mercedes really getting out of sorts as they go under the flyover, under the bridge. It has been a fantastic first 15 laps. It was a thoroughly entertaining qualifying. We've seen pretty much every single possibility. Safety cars, rain, we've seen different kind of tyres, we've seen inputs from the top guys, we've seen guys staying out there, we've seen all the tyre compounds used apart from the wet tyre today. So thoroughly enjoying it, and we've only got, well, we're just over half distance in fact. We've got half this race to go. Lap 15, we still currently have FDH currently leading the Japanese Grand Prix as he goes out of 130R into the Senna chicane. Following him 2.7 seconds down the road, as GFO said, he has not stopped. Well, in fact, the first 2 haven't stopped. Jonathan Cox in third, he has stopped for the hard tyre, but he's going to have to stop again. There's no way of making his hard tyres last till the end either. Jared is in fourth. He was leading this race for a number of laps. And he's down to P4. Shame that he's still holding his own in P4. Fantastic race to him. Paul's a Ferrari down there in P5. He again has stopped. He's on the medium tyre, but I don't think I'll be shocked if these tyres, the mediums, runners will last till the end. And of course, penalties will make a big decision in this race. Stringy and deciding that tyres are on the agenda. So you go for mediums, so sure, that's the first guy that's going to make it to the end. You would have thought. They're changing the front wing as well, so he's had his own gallop of travels in the Japanese Grand Prix around Suzuka. The Extremist is the final guy in P14 at the back of this field. We still have 14 runners and riders and the 16 drivers that started this race. Dragon on Speed and Civics out of the race, and unfortunately for Dragon on Speed, it really hasn't been the race of his highlights, and surely he cannot wait to next week already. And this is the time FDH decides to come in as we ride with him, the top 2 coming in. Jonathan Cox, he decides to stay out, so he will take the overall race lead. The leader, they're coming in for, it's going to be medium surely, or it's going to be soft, pardon me. It's soft tyres. They made it to lap 17 with the front runners. So when the front runners come out, it's going to be interesting because they are going to be wanting to pounce at the end of the race, being on these much quicker soft tyres. And now Jonathan Cox, who's got the pit again, will be trying to make the overcut. So where's the first driver who stops? FDH, who currently rides with, so temporarily he is in the lead of this race. He was leading this race. He's made his final pit stop for soft tyres. So watch his progress. He's currently 8th. So does Jonathan Cox decide to pit on the next lap? Or is he going to be trying to ring out and make the overcut last as long as possible? Surely, even with Jonathan Cox's ability in his racing points, it's going to be a matter of time before he is going to have to come in again. We've got a Williams off. It's Jared. Brand new tyres for him. And unlucky, he's gone at no front wing as well. Broken front wing, broken left front of the wing. So big shame there for Jared. It hasn't caused a safety car. That would have fallen right into Jonathan Cox's hands as he prepared for the final chicane, 100-metre board. Not on the curb and more. Does he pit on this lap? This lap he decides to pit. So we're going to be having a look now for FTH, who's currently in 8th. This is the guy that he's battling with for overall lead of the race. That racing point doesn't sound too healthy as it comes down the pit lane. It's going to be soft tyres for Jonathan Cox. We're going to stay with him as Forza Ferrari Cup leads the race. It's a Ferrari 1-2. The Scuderia first and second in this race. The Irish New Potatoes in as well. Where does Jonathan Cox come out? Is he going to be ahead? No, FTH is already up the road. So FTH currently back into, or he's 5th position at the moment. Overall, when everyone does pit, it's going to be the lead of the race. At the moment, we have got Forza Ferrari currently leading in the Alfa Romeo. We've got Benny Boy. Apologies, of course, it is called Forza Ferrari. I'm forgetting he's in an Alfa, not in a Ferrari. Hence the name. It's his teammates filling down in 13th position. So we've got a Italian 1-2, Forza Ferrari currently leading Benny Boy in the Scuderia in 2nd. We've got James Bradfield hot on his heels in 3rd position. Ian MC is 4th. And FDH, who's a guy who stopped twice for the 2 stops, he is in 5th place. GFO Seb is in 6th. Jonathan Cox 7th. He pitted a lap later, and you can see the difference that has made. Stringy's day to forget seems to have come to an end. Lucky for Stringy, it's going to be nil point for him. Big shame. And what a shame it had been for him. As you can see, a battle there for the lead, and you can see already as Forza Ferrari comes in. Massive battle as Benny Boy seems to have spun it as he came into the pits. That's a shame. It does for him. It does give Jay Bradfield the overall lead of this race. Jonathan Cox, the championship leader, goes up to P5 because of the shenanigans and the pit stops that have happened. Jay Bradfield. Now, this is where we expected to see, or I expected to see Jay Bradfield after a disappointing qualifier. He's leading the race in the Mercedes. A relatively newcomer to the RRC racing community, and an impact he has made in just a few weeks. He has got to pit, he's got on the mediums, and now he's getting maximum exposure because he's got FTH already behind him on soft tyres. Jay Bradfield still has to stop again. Surely he cannot make these medium tyres last. The remaining, what's that? 9 laps, 8-9 laps until the end of this race. Surely he can't. As talking about holding up roadblocks, you've got Ian MC trying to battle off GFO Leclerc. He's not going to be able to there. The tyre's completely gone into spoon curve. And GFO Seb is going to be all about getting past in a very easy manner as possible. FGH about to make a move. Sure, he's going to get Jay Bradfield this time. He thinks about it and decides not to. Now does Bradfield decide to come in? His tyres look like they're shocked in my opinion. He does indeed come in. So overall race lead goes back to FGH. And normal service is resumed. He was leading this race. GFO Seb is going to be hot on his heels. Where does Bradfield come out in? He's most likely going to be 6th or 7th position after his pit stop. The Irish New Potatoes will be too far behind, surely, to catch him. So it will be 6th for Jay Bradfield. No, it won't be 6th for Jay Bradfield. He has been passed in the pits. So Bradfield falling all the way back down to 9th position. He did lead this race. A leader who had stopped him right behind him. And that's the reason why he's fallen all the way back down to P9, having his own private battle there with TFC Old Boy, and the Old Boy put it in the wall, and hopefully he's managed to not damage the car too much. Shame the Old Boy was doing quite well. He was up there in 8th, 9th. He was battling those hard tyres, not holding up to it. Surely now it's going to be a time to pit for the soft for him and make the roll of the dice, surely, to get some points in this race. Back to the lead of the race with 8 to go in the Japanese Grand Prix. We've got FTH currently leading. We've got GFO Seb in 2nd. They're both on soft tyres, brand new soft tyres. With Ian MC in 3rd. He has stopped in our TFC Old Boys, call it a day. And shame for the Old Boy. He has called it a day this time. having a great race out there, and hopefully he hasn't just left it on track, because that will make a ghosting car for the other drivers we're racing with. Jonathan Cox about to make his move with his teammate, and you can see the Pink Panther there looming out. Good move there from T-Bone. He's up to P3. His teammate is yet to stop. Surely ENMC wouldn't have made it too hard for him. ENMC, really what I'd call pretty much a sliding race for him. He's pretty much gone from one extreme to the other and back again. So do a roundabout Grand Prix, you have to say, for ENMC. And at the moment, the racing points, 3rd and 4th. But ENMC surely has still got to pit. I don't think those hard tyres will be able to make it. If he was to stop, surely he'll be falling all the way back to round about where James Bradfield is, maybe in 7th position. So a couple of places will be lost if he does decide to pit. And it just shows that these soft tyres, how good they are. You can see how much Jonathan Cox has pulled out on his teammate in half a lap. At what, 2 seconds it looks like he seems to have already pulled out. It is 1.8. Good guess for me. So points go to me today. My maths quiz. I was thinking 2 seconds. I look at the monitor. It was 1.8. No, it's 2 seconds. So he is 2 seconds ahead. I was right. So he's 2 seconds ahead of his teammate in such a short space of time. Back to the lead for the Japanese Grand Prix. GFO Seb taking all the glass and more in his pursuit of TFH. He will get DRS, but surely now he's too far ahead to make it move. DFR Hazard having his own private battle there with a Haas. The Irish new potato, or pole man, who has really not had the best Grand Prix. Incident on that one, he really hasn't recovered there. Or sorry, an incident at the start of the race, towards the start of the race, and he's about to lose a position. It looks like ahead to DFR Hazard, and Hazard's going to be all over him. He does make the move slick, or stick I should say. Still Hazard all the way up there to P6 in the Scuderia. The number 32, the red Ferrari. Great driving from him today. Another yellow flag. It's Benny Boy. And this is where, so lucky there that the Alpha didn't put it in the back of the Ferrari. I was saying all the way through the race, I don't think these hard tyres are going to last. There's going to be spots on those hards. And surely now Benny Boy is going to have to come in, change the 4 tyres. Maybe have a go for fastest lap of the race. And maybe if he can get into the top 10 and another point to his championship title. So we're still looking at the battle for the lead. What's this, 5 to go? I'm not going to make the mistake as on Tuesday and miss the last lap. Any apologies to anyone watching that. I'll make sure my eyes are glued to that 27 so we can actually see the end of the race. FDH still leading it with 3 seconds of gap now. So DFO Seb has slipped now down outside the DRS zone, but we've got the Pink Panther chasing him. Mr. Elite does get himself a 3-second time penalty. This race is all about it's all about time penalties, and if he was to get a safety car now, it would massively impact the race. These penalties. This is probably the last lap we will actually get a safety car. I've been in a league race and had a safety car on this lap in the ratio to the race, so it is possible. So just the one safety car we've seen today, and it has helped out T-Bone, but we have to say he was right at the back of the field. It allowed him to make his pit stop and come back through. It really didn't favour the Irish new potato. He is back in 6th place. T-Bone's managed to pull the Pink Panther back up to P3 on the racetrack. The gap for the lead has gone down to 0.7 of a second, so he is within DRS's range. His ERS seems to be completely out, and he has got a fuel warning on his dashboard, has GFO said, so he may need to be careful with the fuel for the next couple of laps. If he can stay in DRS range though, that will surely help him out in his pursuit of the Japanese Grand Prix win. Too far away there to be rolling in FTH for this point. Has battle on the track between the Mercedes and the Haas. The Irish near potato. He's not going to get, he'll get DRS zone this time. The Ferrari in front of the Haas is too far to get DRS. And this time he's not close enough to the Irish new potato to be able to make it stick. So, a shame for him. Benny Boy trying to get back into the race. He was doing so well earlier. He has got first off as I predicted. And big shame for him that towards the back of the field. The Extremist is currently the last runner in P11 without a single point. So shame for him. Benny Boy currently looking at a point after his day of troubles. Looking at the lead for the race. It's the FTH. Trying to, also because GFO Seb trying to roll in FTH. You will get DRS to come up the hill. As you can see now, the Raging Bull getting ever closer to the McLaren. Seb's got himself a 3-second time penalty. This really won't help his cause in the Raging Bull. We have 2 or 3 to go, including the one they're on in the Japanese Grand Prix. And surely Tebow is going to be too far behind to do anything about the top 2. It's surely going to be the battle for the win between FTH and GFO Seb today. Seb starting really towards the back of the grid. Poor qualifying from him. Nearly losing the Red Bull there. And nearly taking a barrier with him. Nice to see he's cutting the grass for us in Japan. FTH wasn't excited enough about this race, deciding to get himself a 3-second time penalty. That may cost him race victory, because now he hasn't just got to worry about keeping Seb behind him, because he would have had a 3-second gap. This time he's going to make sure he does not pass. Hazard gets himself a penalty. The top 3 have penalties of 3 seconds, so these 2 will count themselves out. It will be whoever finishes on the track order for the time being will get the race win. And it's all about the preparing for the final exit of the corner, the exit of the final corner. Surely not here. He does think about it. GFO Seb makes that move. He's spun it. Fantastic driving to really hold the Red Bull together. It puts him out of sorts. This is where he would have been exit. I think a little bit too eager there from GFO Seb. He's got 2 to go. So white flag next time. Jonathan Cox can see these guys. And this is not what you want to be doing to Jonathan Cox with 2 to go. It's showing him other cars. The RSV Potato is on the penalty train as well. He wants to be included. He's got some TV time. He wants the penalty. He's got it. Big shame for him. Gap to the lead is 7/10 of a second. 6/10 of a second. But ever getting closer as we go down the field. Let's go back down the field one more time before we start the white flag lap. So FTH currently still leading this race in the McLaren on their soft tyres, as did GFO Seb chasing him down. 6/10 between these 2. Jonathan Cox in the racing point. He started from the front row of the grid. He's gone to the back of the field and come back again. He is in P3. Ian MC, fantastic drive for him. He's made his hard tyres last. I didn't think he had. 21 laps on the hard tyres. It looks like he surely could be finishing full today for his racing points team. Beautiful Hazard, a race, really eventful race for him, leading on top of the tree at one point because of the pit stop. He's put the soft tyres on. He seems to be making them last. The Irish New Potato started from pole position. He really hasn't had the best race. First couple of laps away, he seems to have lost it, and he really hasn't picked it up since. His lap was a lap 2 incident, lap 3 incident, when he cost him massive points a day. Mr. Relate, he looks like he's after P7. Fantastic drive for him. Jay Bradfield, I wouldn't say a fantastic drive for him. I've seen him do a lot better, so really a race for Ferrari. Forza Ferrari there would have been higher, but problems have pushed him down the field, as does Benny Boy. And we're going back to the white flag laps. Just to finish what I was saying, so Benny Boy again having big issues, him and Forza Ferrari losing it, and the Extremist. So that is the reason why. We've got the Extremist down in P11. He's out of the race, so everyone that finishes will get points. We've got CFC Old Boy. We saw him lose it. He is out. We've got Stringy. He is out. Jared and Dragon on Speed and Civics all out of the race. We've got 10 out of the 16 drivers. And surely now GFO Seb will get one last DRS zone to make the Japanese Grand Prix count. We're going to be staying with this battle until the end of the 27 lap, they both have 3-second time penalties. They will cancel themselves out. T-Bone has got a 5-second penalty, I believe, in P3. That will basically still stand. At worst, a 3-second time penalty. It won't matter because it will still finish third on the road by looks of things. And it looks like GFO Seb, it looks like he has admitted defeat. He's run out of DRS zones. A fantastic drive from CFKTH. He comes out of the last corner. He wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Fantastic drive for him. It's Seb who finishes third. Jonathan Cox, I'll say second for Seb. It's Jonathan Cox who finishes in third place. Ian MC we're waiting for in P4. So what's that? Nothing between the top three on the last lap. Ian MC, fantastic drive for him. Hats off, finishing fourth on those old tyres. Driver of the day, in my opinion, for what he's done today. Dio Hazard brings back the train for P6. The Irish New Potato in 7th. Mr. Elite 8, Forza Ferrari. We're about to see him coming out of 130R. A shame for him, he will still get a bag full of points today for his Italian team. Making the most of the last corner, lucky not to put it in the wall in the last corner. It's been crazy of everyone watching him, and Benny Boy will be the last of our 10 finishes. He does get a point. He seems pretty happy with that after his evening's session. Whew. And now we can breathe. So GFO said, voted by Codemasters as driver of the day. Very mature drive for him. As we go to the podium celebrations, well, he deserved it, FTH, he really did. GFO said pushed him all the way to the last lap. It looks like he'd pushed his ERS right to the limits. It's McLaren on top in Japan. Very mature race and mature driving in gold from the top three. And good to see him as we go on to the final standings as we're about to play podium music. The top three do get themselves penalties. Shame to see there is FTH confirmation. He does win. He started from P4 today. He was on the right tyre at the right place. The 3-second time penalty didn't matter. He wins the Japanese Grand Prix by 9/10 of a second. GFO Seb is second. It's Jonathan Cox in third place. Ian MC finishes fourth. Your Hazard finishes in 5th, Jay Bradfield 6th, the Irish New Potato 7th, Mr. Elite 8th, it's Benny Boy in 9th, and Forza Ferrari picks up the last point for the last runner in 10th place. For me, Dior Hazard has to be driver of the day. Started 12th, he made those hard tyres last. GFO Seb really out of position, that's the reason why I'm not voting for him as driver of the day. Hazard made those hard tyres last. It's a shame the podium couldn't have had 4 spaces on there. For me, if driver of the day was an extra point, I'd 100% give it to him. So congratulations to all the drivers, especially the top 3. Fantastic driving, very, very, I would say, mature driving from everyone out there today. We've had a mix of everything. We saw the rain, we've had safety cars, we had multiple changes for the lead. I'm out of breath. I absolutely loved it. It's been an FNR to remember. I'm definitely watching this again, as I'm sure you guys will out there. So as I'm about to, my last couple of breaths before we're about to take a seat and maybe some air and some water and everything else. For the last couple of hours I haven't had anything. I just want to say thank you very much to everyone for watching. And again, thank you to everyone from FNR. Thank you very much for watching, the whole RRC racing community. If you haven't subscribed, obviously please do to our Facebook group of RRC Racing. We'll see you again to, of course, Monday League coming up. We've got the Sunday League if you're around, which Mono obviously will be racing in, and obviously hosting as well. We've got the Wednesday League and the Tuesday League coming up. From everyone at RRC Racing and myself, Scrappy Doo, guys, stay safe. Thank you very much for watching, and good night.